What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. I know it's early, I know this, but it's Monday. We got to do a mock draft Monday. Woke up this morning, I was like, what am I going to do? Making a mock draft. I don't know why, just kind of felt like I know it is currently March 12th. So I think this video is going to be really interesting. If you're watching this in July, well, okay. If you have an hour before your draft, and this is like August, don't watch this video. Watch my most recent mock draft. That's going to be the best one to watch. But I think this is going to be interesting just to see how much things change. How much the ADPs change. How garbage this team's probably going to be. Because it's going to be pretty garbage. We know ESPN, I think they start in like May. I think May is right when ESPN starts. But you don't even really want to use ESPN right away. You want to use Fantasy Football Calculator, which I'll pull up in a second. But even that, right now, no one's going to be on it. No one's going to be on it, obviously. So I didn't want to use that because it's going to be like auto drafted until my pick, and then I'm only going to have a little bit to pick it. And I kind of want to talk about a few things. Something I want to go over first is just the few trades that we've seen. Just briefly touch on that. Also, caveat, if you're watching this like a month after it came out and like Kirk Cousins is now a Viking or something, obviously that's going to change. Free agency hasn't opened up yet. So I don't know what those things are going to be. We're just going to speculate in this video. We're just going to see where things are. I have not looked at ADPs. I have not done a draft yet. I want this to be my initial take. I'm going to randomly select my position. Nothing. I haven't looked at anything. I don't know who's going 1, 2. I don't know. I'm assuming, if I had to guess, who would I guess? And we're doing PPR 12 team. I would think Bell, wouldn't you? Unless he holds out, but I don't think he's going to. I don't actually know that situation. But if he doesn't hold out, I think Bell would go 1. DJ would be in the top 3. Maybe Gurley. Gurley might be like 3rd, AB 4th. Somewhere along those lines, but we'll check it out. Trades. To start off. Big one is Alex Smith to the Redskins. So obviously, we know Cousins is gone. Obviously, we've known that. The indications right now look pretty much like he's going to be a Viking. But I guess we'll still have to see. We know the Rams got better on defense. They got Marcus Peters. They got Talib. The Dolphins got Quinn. I mean, those things aren't really fantasy relevant. Eagles got Michael Bennett, wide receiver we don't care about. Yada, yada, yada. Torrey Smith to the Panthers. I've always been a don't ever draft Torrey Smith guy. Browns had a day. The Browns had a day. Browns got Jarvis Landry. They got Demarius Randall. They gave up to Sean Kaiser, and they got Ty God. They gave away Danny Shelton to the Patriots. I like that move for the Patriots. Sherman is now in the 49ers. Ivory to the Bills, but none of those really matter too much. I'm pretty sure Shelton's going to He's going to help the run defense of the Patriots, but we're not too concerned with that here. What I wanted to do to start off was, what the heck? No, thank you. Just show you guys, if you are going to do drafts, there are the 2 sites. You can go to Fantasy Pros, NFL, Draft Simulator, start a mock, and then you can kind of change up your settings here. Or you go to Fantasy Football Calculator, do a mock draft, but this one doesn't have any people in it yet. If you don't want to do it with people, you want to do it just real quick, see how things are like, it's Fantasy Pros. If you want to do it with people who know what they're actually doing instead of ESPN, you can use ESPN in like late August. But you should be using Fantasy Football Calculator. But what I did want to do is just glance at the ADP. So we want PPR, 12 team. Okay. So Gurley's going 1 with actually a pretty low standard deviation. So he's like going 1, then DJ, Bell. So Kamara's the 4 pick. Okay, and then AB's doesn't go till 6. That's interesting. Hopkins, Odell, Keenan Allen's up there. All right, maybe this isn't trustworthy yet. Maybe it's not. We'll check out the simulator. There's 0% chance Deshaun Watson goes this early ahead of all the other quarterbacks. Maybe that's just Alex Collins is way up there. Oh, okay, good. They have. I was wondering where they would put Barkley. My take on Barkley, and again, this is before free agency that might change things. We don't know. I think that the Browns are going to draft him. I think they just take him at 1 and then they take their quarterback, their next pick. I think they have 4. I don't think it's the right pick. I don't ever think you should be taking running backs in the first round. I think Fournette was an awful pick. Excuse me. I would never, ever take a running back in the first round, but I think they're going to. But honestly, they can afford to make those choices because they have like the most draft capital ever. I don't know how trustworthy this is. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It seems okay at the beginning, but then Watson, Tyreek Hill seems high. Devontae Adams seems not sure about that one. But let's do it. So we're gonna randomize that. We're just looking at ESPN standard settings. So I think that's 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what ESPN does. But we don't draft kickers on this channel. So yeah, 1 tight end, 2 wide, 2 a flex spot. Okay, we're gonna do those settings. We're gonna do PPR scoring, 12 team snake, and we're gonna randomize our draft spot at 4. Okay, I'll take 4. And we're going to start our draft. Interesting that Kamara was so high. There's no way. It's Bell at 4. All right, so let's just see what people took. How do I do that? Oh, it's on the left. Duh. All right, so Gurley went 1, David Johnson 2, Antonio Brown 3. That seems like a start I can get behind. But there is no way in the world, unless Bell, we get word that he's on a lockout, no way in the world you don't take Bell at 4 here. Because, like, your other options, you're obviously not taking a quarterback or a tight end. You're obviously not going to take these wide receivers ahead of him. No, yeah, that's the obvious pick. I don't need to go too in-depth about why that's a good pick. So let's just walk through this next one. We got Zeke, then Odell, DeAndre Hopkins, Kamara. Michael Thomas went 9. Feels pretty high. I was talking to a friend about Julio and how he's going to go in the late first round just because he's awesome, but he hasn't shown us an ability to score touchdowns. Like, he's actually pretty high in the red zone targets over the year last year. He just like couldn't convert them, and I don't know why that is 100%. Some people just aren't good at that. I have a hard time believing that a guy of his skill set isn't good at that, but it's interesting to see. But having Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen go ahead of Julio in a PPR league seems a little ridiculous given that Julio has 140 catch upside. I get it, but you'll never see me draft Keenan Allen before Julio Jones. You can make an argument, especially in standard or half point, for Michael Thomas. But again, for me, that picks Julio. Josh Gordon, a lot of that's going to depend on free agency or in the draft, like who they get at quarterback, how we feel. The Browns I'm talking about, if he even stays a Brown. I mean, we don't even know that he's going to be a Brown. Dalvin Cook, I think, is a good pick in the second round. Although, and actually Kareem Hunt, we got to remember Spencer Ware's coming back. We need to see training camp. I mean, obviously you'd think that Hunt got the job, but we don't know. Fournette, Gordon. So it looks like running back went heavy early. Did I say the draft order wrong? It was AB 1, David Johnson 2, Gurley 3. I don't remember what I said, but that's how it was. It looks like after the first 4 running backs, there's a lot of the wide receivers that went, and then a lot of running backs. It's like they're in groups. They're in groups of like Odell, Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Julio, Gordon. Gordon really does seem pretty high right there. And then there's the group of Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Fournette, Melvin Gordon. This group right here feels like it's going to stay pretty close together in drafts, end of the first, early second. And to be honest, when you're in this range, take the guy that you like the most. Don't be like, oh, I'm reaching like 3, 4, 5 spots, if you feel good about a guy and like you just don't want Fournette on your team, you want Hunt, just take him. Like don't worry too much about reaching a few spots because you're not going to get the other guy anyways. And some of this stuff's subjective, really. So after that, it's Mike Evans. Feels crazy. Mike Evans and AJ Green in the, I guess, early to middle second round. Then Devonta Adams, then LaShawn McCoy. So on our board, we have got a choice of Devonta Freeman, Mark Ingram. That's probably it for running backs. Then Ty Freak, Brandon Cooks, Thielen, Doug Baldwin, Allen Robinson. So we've already got Bell. And remember, if this was a standard league, if you're ever even close, you take the running back. Always. If it's even like a little bit towards the wide, just take the running back. Always. Always, always, always. In a standard league, take the running back. And if you find that you've got 6 running backs and 2 wide receivers, that's great. That's fine. Like, just, you got to load up on running backs. This does feel close, but even in PPR, I just want to see. No one. So they have Ertz ahead of Gronk. You know, Gronk might be an actor soon. You never know. I think, just a quick side note, on the Gronk situation with like acting, I think genuinely that if Brady retires in the next like 2-3 years, that Gronk will probably not be a Patriot once Brady retires. Like if Brady leaves, let's say Brady plays 2 more years, retires after that, I think there's a strong possibility that Gronk also retires or moves to another team with like a big contract. I think there might be a huge breakup in New England around like Brady will leave, Edelman will leave. I don't even know if we can keep Amendola this year. Gronk will leave. Like I think this is going to be like a mass exodus. I don't want that obviously, but I think that's a strong possibility. But back to this draft. If I'm looking at those wide receivers, it's Thielen for me. I believe there's rumblings that Cooks might be gone, but I can't really justify anyone ahead of Thielen, especially at this point, given the potential chance that Cousins goes there. I think I've always been a Cousins believer. So for me, the pick might be Thielen, which is kind of crazy to think about that. I think he was our #1 late round pick last year, as in like you should be targeting this guy like 7th, 8th round when he was going in like the 9th, 10th round for some reason. But it feels crazy taking him in the 2nd round. But I'm not taking these guys ahead of him. And then you think Mark Ingram and Freeman. I've already got Bell, and I think we can scrap together a running back for PPR scoring. So we're gonna take Thielen, and we're just gonna see. We're going to see how the rest of the draft, and we've got a pick coming up. Oh, look at that. And we still got Mark. First indication looking at these running backs, I see a little bit of a drop-off there, which is why I was hoping that one of those 2 would stay. I would say after this 12 spot. So after the like Melvin Gordon, Freeman, Mark Ingram, LaShawn McCoy, I see like a cut, and then it's the Drake, Henry, McCaffrey, Duke. I don't know anyone in their right mind takes Duke right now. And it's actually a mini tier of really just Drake, Henry, and McCaffrey, with Henry leading that tier, in my opinion. We know DeMarco Murray's gone in Tennessee, and there's no way they draft like a good running back, a 1st and 2nd down running back. They'll likely either draft or bring in a 3rd down back, but Henry's definitely ahead of, I think, even McCoy probably. Mark Ingram. I'd say Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram are pretty close for me right now. We don't need to take a wide receiver because even like I show more here, Doug, Allen, Landry, Cooper, Diggs, T.Y., Alshon, Tate, Dez, like all of these guys, legitimately, I don't even care. Like right now, I don't even care which one I get. All the way down through probably Marvin Jones at 26. I'd say 24 at Demaryius, depending on who their quarterback is. All those guys. So we can wait and we'll likely get one of them at our next pick. So it's basically at this point, it's down to Derrick Henry or Mark Ingram. Remember, we never draft a quarterback in the first 9 rounds, 8 rounds. If you want to draft one in the 9th, I guess that's fine. And tight ends, unless you get a super deal on like an elite 3 in like the 5th or 6th round, maybe but I don't draft those either. All skill position players. I got to think right now it's Derrick Henry. I know. I think the Saints defense. Oh, what did they do? I can't remember right now, but I swear they just got like a little bit even better. I'm blanking. I swear they got someone, but Mark Ingram's a great pick. I like Derrick Henry. If he can learn to catch a football, then he's gonna be a monster. And also, I have the choice of keeping either Josh Gordon in the last round, like the 14th round, or Derrick Henry in the 9th round of my standard keeper league. I think that's what it's down to. I can't remember what the other plays are. So I obviously have been rooting for DeMarco to just be gone. But I think even in a standard league, I've got to think the pick there is Derrick Henry. But we'll see. We'll see. And I'm sure this team's gonna be complete trash once actual drafts roll around. Barkley went in the 4th round. If he goes number 1 to the Browns, in all likelihood, that is a good pick. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know where he'll be drafted if he does go to the Browns versus another team. But, I mean, this dude's good. And the Browns are turning things around on both sides of the ball. So, yeah. If he goes to the Browns, I would guess he'd be like a late 2nd, early 3rd based on hype, which then we'd have to have a conversation. But if you're getting in the 4th, it's probably a good pick. So the computer wants me to draft Rodgers here, but we all know the computer is wrong. Although that's not the worst pick in the world. The late 4th round for Rodgers is not the worst pick in the world. It's just not a good one given what you can get late in drafts. So here's what it's down to. Look at tight ends. Yeah, the big 3's gone at this point. So if you got a big 3 tight end in like the 5th, maybe you could pull that trigger. But running backs, obviously, I just said we're not doing Duke. Mixon, Lev Bell struggled in his first year, and that's the biggest comp. Mixon is like the biggest comp to Lev Bell, at least in my eyes. I'm not going to touch Chris Thompson. Dion Lewis, I mean, if you could assure me he was a Patriot, there's risk there. Carlos Hyde, I want to say he's a free agent, and I don't think he's going to stay in San Fran, but could go to the Colts. So there's upside in that pick. A lot of upside in the Ajayi pick, Collins pick, Aaron Jones. We're not touching Bly Powell. Okay, so that's kind of the range there. And actually, I said Demaryius was probably that last part on the wide receivers. There's still some guys in that range that I like. But it's Marvin Jones, Crabtree. Oh, how old is Jordy Nelson at this point? I'm not saying you can't draft him. But for me, I get another pick soon, right? I get another pick in like, not soon, but in a little bit, where I think I would take a running back. So I'm going to go Demaryius here. What would that make my team? That'd be Bell, Derrick Henry, Thielen. Yeah, we'll take Demaryius here. Next one will be our flex. We're not taking a quarterback. Oh, wow, we can still get Jordy and Crabtree. Yeah, and I would take a running back here. Because if you look at 20, like, we don't know where McKinnon's going. I think he's gone. Lamar Miller, I don't remember how long his deal was. I can't remember if he's going to be gone too. Marlon Mack would depend on if they bring in a free agent. Like I said, though, for me, the pick here is Mixon, Lewis, or Hyde, or Ajayi. But I feel like Lewis has a little too much risk. I feel like they're going to bring on Ajayi. Oh, that's tough. Mixon, Hyde, or Ajayi. Let's just pretend Hyde goes to the Colts. And let's pretend that Andrew Luck knows how to throw a football still. Hyde's a very interesting pick. He hasn't caught as much. No, I'm gonna dump Hyde from that. Ajayi or Mixon. I don't think the Bengals are good enough to support as much opportunity as Ajayi. So I'm gonna say Ajayi here. Ajayi's the pick, and we'll pray that like a Marvin Jones is still there, but there's no way. There's no way he's still gonna be there. We're gonna take Ajayi. I like that running backs. Bell, Henry, Ajayi. That feels good. Oh, Crabtree just went. Probably would have taken him. And Marvin Jones went. Very nice. Okay. We'll take a glance. What round are we even in? 6th round. Take a glance at the quarterback. So Breeze is still on the board. Cousins on the board. Stafford, Garoppolo, Big Ben, Goff, Rivers, Ryan, Winston, Mahomes. People are going to draft Mahomes high. I know it. I know people are going to reach on Mahomes. I'm not saying I won't, but I know people are going to reach way too far. Yeah, they kind of took. The running backs are a little gross, and it's PPR, so we don't like need a running back right now. Let's look at the wide receivers. We can still draft Jordy Nelson. How old is he? Is he like 34 at this point? He's going to be 33. Wow. I mean, but like if Rodgers is back, who's to say he's not going to score a bunch of touchdowns? It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. Another year of Corey Davis, but am I really going to draft Corey Davis over Jordy Nelson? Robert Woods was really good towards the end of last year when he wasn't hurt. And Watkins is gone. Not saying Watkins is like a super... Watkins is good. He's just not like a target monster. Like it's not like a ton of targets are gone. But thinking about it, yeah, Woods, like... It's going to be Cooper Kupp, Woods, and whether they draft someone or maybe they bring in like a one, like a possession one. Or a deep threat. They could bring in a deep threat. I don't know who they bring in. I kind of like Woods. That defense is getting a lot better. More helps the run game, I guess, but more like they'll have the ball in more opportune situations. They'll get the ball more off of turnovers, short fields. I can definitely rationalize Woods at this spot. Watkins would be an upside, like, we don't know where he's going, but it's Sammy Watkins. And the narrative on him is super split. People either love the guy or they hate him. I tend to be, I like the upside because, and I'll show you guys it plenty. I already updated the success rate on different rounds. We're in the 6th round, which is where everything just tanks. Really, the 5th round it tanks, but 6th round on upside. Just whoever you think has a shot at being really good, you take him. You want to reach 2 rounds when you're in the 7th round, go for it. It doesn't matter. The percent of hitting is just dives off a cliff starting in the 6th round. So you could take Watkins. I don't think you need to take him here, but he's definitely better than a lot of these options. I'm not touching Kelvin Benjamin. Robert Woods. I think Robert Woods is a good pick there. Yeah. I like that pick. And we've got one coming up here. So we've got 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. Okay. We can really go wherever we want. We can look at quarterback. If you wanted to take Cousins here, I'm not going to argue with you. But just, I mean, like, Keenum's 26th. Like, I wonder where Bridgewater, Bradford, and Keenum are all going to go. That's going to be interesting to see. Like, if Cousins comes in, they're not keeping Cousins and Keenum and Bradford and Bridgewater. Like, give another team a quarterback. But you can wait so long and get these guys, so I'm not worried. McKinnon's interesting at this spot. Lamar Miller's interesting at this spot. I'm kind of looking for someone. I'm looking for someone with a ton of upside. And like, that's not as much as people like Chris Carson. I feel like the hype, if Chris Carson's the only guy in camp at that point, the hype's going to get ridiculous. And he's not even going to be available at this point. But Chris Carson's not I don't know what they're going to do in Seattle, but Chris Carson is not a bad pick at all at this spot because he was easily the best running back on that team last year. Coleman's not a bad pick. So it's Coleman or Chris Carson or McKinnon there. I could just double dip in the Rams and take Cooper Kupp, but I'd probably take Watkins. I'm going to wait on Chris Carson. I'm going to take Watkins here. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to draft Sammy Watkins. We're going to hope that Carson is still available with our next pick. Oh, I think he is. Lovely. Coleman is still available. That's kind of crazy. But the pick there would be Chris Carson. I mean, wide receivers, Emmanuel, but we already have Demarius. For those who ask, I use that as a tiebreaker. I am not against drafting Demarius and Emmanuel, but if it's even close, I will pick the other one. Like, I will not willingly go out of my way to be like Demarius and Emmanuel on my team. People say stacking. Like, if you want to stack a quarterback, like if I was like, oh, I should go out of my way to draft Goff now that I have Woods, that's standard. That's a daily fantasy trick where you stack and then you bring back with the other team. That's not a season-long thing. You don't need to worry about that. Be like, oh, I get extra points with he throws a touchdown to my guy. It's like, well, no, you don't get extra points. You just got the individual points from each guy. It just happen to happen at the same time. Like, it's not, it doesn't work like bonus points. If it happens with quarterback and wide receiver, I'm totally fine with it. I just don't want to, I don't typically like to do 2 wide receivers. But sometimes it just happens accidentally, and sometimes the value is just too great where you have to take it. Like Emmanuel this late, the value is kind of getting to a point where it's too great. You should take it. But I do think Chris Carson is the best running back on Seattle. So I'm going to take him there. Yeah, we got to pick really close. Cousins is still there, 9th round. And if I'm assuming that he goes to the Vikings and has Diggs and Thielen and Cook and Rudolph and a good defense that got a little worse, probably, if they bring him in. I don't know if they can afford everyone. But, I don't know who that is. Is Jimmy Graham a free agent? I think Jimmy Graham's a free agent. I think. I don't remember. That would be an interesting upside pick. If Jimmy Graham goes to somewhere that they'll actually use him. You know who an upside pick is? Where's oh, Wilson's going 2. I was gonna say if Wilson was going like 5th for quarterbacks, I mean the dude's got no defense now. If they unleash Wilson, like they're always hesitant early in games, they just don't want to use him. If they unleash Wilson, whew, he could put up some monster numbers if he can stay healthy. Wayne Gallman. Yeah, right, mate. What are we? Okay. We'll just go over. We could look at non-skill position guys here. So we've got Bell, Henry, Ajayi, Carson for running backs, and then Thielen, Demarius, Woods, Watkins. There's a little bit of risk with our wide receivers. A little bit. So if I was going for another pick, I would lean wide receiver. But I'm intrigued by the upside of Jimmy Graham. So who are the tight ends? We got Graham, Doyle, Ebron, Howard, Reed at 13. People finally caught up and they're not taking him super early. I can't make a video on that now. Njoku. Okay, so there's actually a lot of high upside guys. Eifert's super low. I mean, deservedly, but still. Shaheen, really? Yeah, because like I'm kind of fine taking like Njoku, fine taking Howard, fine taking Ebron, Doyle. I'm just the upside intrigues me with Jimmy Graham. But also, if you look at quarterback, Cousins is on an island right now. So I'm going to take Cousins. This is when you don't take a quarterback late. Is when my options are Big Ben, who I can't play for half of the games out of a year, and the dude's talking about retirement, and no, I can't do Big Ben. We got Prescott, who, I mean, Dez might be gone. Like, who's he even throwing to? We saw him get exposed when Zeke was out. Like, I'm not going to take Prescott, really. Like, Rivers is getting up there in age. Guy can't throw the ball more than 5 yards downfield. Matt Ryan had that one really good year, and the people overdrafted him, so now he's probably where he deserves to be. But still, it's Matt Ryan. Winston isn't a terrible pick. Mariota's not a terrible pick, although he regressed last year. Then it's Mahomes. It's Alex Smith, Tygod, who totally not against drafting at all. So I mean, you can wait on these guys. I just think Cousins stands alone ahead of them. So I guess 9th round, Cousins. But if he goes to the Vikings, I got a feeling he goes more in the 7th round. So we're still missing tight end, 3 bench spots, and then we always fill in defense and kicker last, but we don't draft kickers here. We kind of said we wanted to shore up wide receiver. D.D. Westbrook's interesting. My take at the beginning of the offseason was that Allen Robinson's gone. Allen Robinson will not be a Jaguar anymore. They've got plenty of good young wide receivers that I don't think they need to pay him, especially given that when he was on the field, there was hyper-focusing on him. They were so much better on offense, and Bortles looked so much better when he could just spread the ball to his different good receivers. It wasn't like Allen Robinson every single play. So looking at this list, the guys that stand out are it's Dede, Chris Godwin, but that was more of a play when Evans was out. Danny, if he stays. Minitron. Let's just look at this really bottom range to see if there's any. Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole would be a. He's not going to go that late. He's at 91 right now. He'll be higher. Not in love with a lot of these plays. You could take a shot on John Brown. I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. Richardson. Yeah, I mean, I could find guys down there. I'm not even sure how much better D.D. Westbrook is than Keelan Cole right now. Okay, so maybe we go running back here. Maybe we go running back. Or maybe we just take a tight end. Oh, this is tough. I like Rex Burkhead, but I have no idea what the Patriots are going to do. I think, like, Gilmore's like 50-50. Lewis we might lose. So I guess if Lewis and Gilsley were gone, you would take Rex, which maybe gives him some upside here. But I can't touch Abdullah. I can't touch Crowell. Montgomery. I got to hear stuff out of training camp, but I guess there's upside there. Geis, I don't know where he's going. This is not an ideal range to be in. So I guess Montgomery or Rex Burkhead is probably the two you have to choose from there. Montgomery, Rex Burkhead, or we just take a tight end. Let's just take OJ Howard because I don't know who to pick from those skill position guys. It's OJ Howard or Njoku. But let's take OJ Howard. He was coming along towards the end of the year. We're gonna take OJ Howard. So now we can take. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers. Still, we never draft 2 tight ends or 2 quarterbacks unless it's a 2-quarterback league. And Montgomery's still there. So we'll take Montgomery. Where are you? And again, all upside. I don't care if Montgomery duds and I can cut him at the end. He's got a ton of upside in his skill set and that offense. Doug Martin's a free agent, but he's not that good. Breida. What are they going to do? Because if Hyde's gone, is Breida... I'd have to look back at how good Breida was last year. I know he flashed at points, but he's not anything special. They could draft or get a free agent there. You could take the upside of Ware in hopes that he takes over Kareem Hunt. I don't really see any... Jamal Charles going to be a thing again? Jeremy McNichols. Yeah, I don't really see a running back. So it'd be D.D. Westbrook, Amendola, or Kenny Galladay, but it's probably Kenny Galladay for upside here. Kenny Galladay or D.D. Westbrook, but I'm just going to take the upside of Kenny Galladay here. And then last pick can be either running back or a wide receiver for the bench. We don't draft LeGarrette Blount on this channel. Yeah, there it's Spencer Ware. It's wherever. It's Spencer Ware. It's Danny Amendola. But whenever it's close, I mean, I just lean running back because it's so important to hit on a running back. So I just don't think. I don't think Ware takes over. That's my issue with taking Ware at this spot. Clement showed some upside there. I guess you have to. Oh, my boy, Corey Grant's my boy. They need to give Corey Grant the ball more, but they won't because they invested such a high amount of capital into Fournette. We'll just take Ware here. We'll take Ware there and just hope that he comes back better than ever and takes over that spot for from Kareem Hunt. Defense. Who would we actually take? I always just like click whatever defense I feel like clicking. In reality, I would take the Saints more than likely. Yeah, I would take the Saints here. Not that it matters for this draft. I don't know if they give you like a grade or something. They gave me a B, guys. There. Let's make this team bigger. Hopefully you guys are able to see anything. I didn't block anything over there. So Cousins, Bell, Derrick Henry, Thielen, Demaryius, O.J. Howard, Ajayi, Saints D, with Woods, whatever team Watkins ends up on, Carson, Ty Montgomery, Kenny Galladay, Spencer Ware. It feels like a good team. Again, I don't know where Cousins is going. I don't know where Watkins is going. I don't know who the quarterback is going to be for Thielen, although I'm basing this basically off of Cousins being the quarterback there. Hoping Henry is the #1 guy in Tennessee, but hey, I think that's a good team. So that's going to be the end of this one. Later this week, in a few days probably, I'll release the video on help for you guys, helping us out over the off season, doing, if you're a writer, you want to write anything, articles, people for thumbnails, people for editing videos, all that sort of stuff, but I'll post the details of that in the video later this week. That is the end of this one. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Thanks for watching.